Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. May I have your attention, please? Welcome to another bright day. And allow me to introduce you to our speakers for the day. We have Ms. Ulrike Reinhard, who is a German publisher, author, a digital nomad, and futurist, and is best known for her skate park in Madhya Pradesh, which is called as the Janwar Castle. I'll tell you more about her once I introduce her formally. And our second speaker for the day is going to be Ms. Barbara Bulk, the founder and president of Global Development Impact and SDG Collab, which is a new kind of practice disrupting silos and harnessing collective resources to foster urgent social and environmental systems change. I'd request Professor Dr. Salunke to kindly felicitate our guest for the day. Ma'am, please, can you just come up stage? We just finish the formalities. And Ma'am Barbara Bulk, please. कर ना कर का ना झालं का त्याचा फोटो घेऊन झालं का बॅकग्राऊंड मध्ये पहिले त्या माईकचं का टेन्शन बरोबर has written for Think Quarterly. All her work is related to the network theory with the internet at its core. It's the interactions and the co-creation processes within her network she cherishes the most. She loves to see things emerging and falling in place. I request a loud round of applause welcoming her for her inaugurating talk.
Good morning. So, when I went to school, I always felt like an outsider. I never had many friends. I didn't always follow the rules. I was very easily bored, and yes, easily distracted as well. I asked the kind of questions my teachers did not like. My parents were called to the headmaster's office pretty often, and usually not for the reasons most parents would hope for. At the age of 10, when we had to decide which high school I should go to, the teachers strongly advised not to send me to a girls-only school. Because the moment they turned their eyes away from me, I was down on the ground fighting with the boys. So they simply thought, she's too wild for girls only. In high school, I do remember some magic moments. Like when I figured out some proof in math way before the others did. My math teacher, Herr Kempf, was really stunned. I still remember him saying, "How did you figure this out?" Or when I scored best in the German grammar tests, then even my classmates were surprised. These were all subjects I really liked. These were subjects I was drawn into. But also I had some very, very dark moments at school, especially when it came to French grammar, or when a murmur of shock and surprise went through the classroom when my near catastrophic final exams results were announced. But this really didn't matter because I knew I was going to study economics, and for economics, no top grades were needed. Basically, they accepted anyone, which I thought was pretty cool. Because, who could guarantee that a top grader would become a good doctor? These days, to study medicine, you really, really had to have top grades. So I was pretty lucky with my choice. University, I found interesting. I could make my own schedule. I could choose the professors I was most interested in. And I understood that university these days would provide me with the tools I would need later on to tackle any kind of problem. It was a conceptual framework, I learned. a framework which included multiple perspectives on the same thing. I had to work while I was studying. I had to part finance my studies. And I was lucky that I found it a very interesting, challenging job where I could apply the theory I have learned. For more than 4 years during my studies, I worked with the biggest public TV channel in Germany, the Zweites Deutsches Fernsehen. I became the right hand of the guy who then was responsible for bringing TV into the digital age. It was quite a daunting task and an even greater challenge in so many ways. And this guy, Hanfried Schäfer, just threw me in the deep end and trusted that I could swim. And I did swim because I knew whenever there would be need, he would jump in and save me. He really was a true mentor. In India, you probably would say he was a guru. Someone who didn't care where I came from or what I was today, but who cared a great deal about what I could become tomorrow. For him, what I could become tomorrow was of the greatest importance. And I've been quite lucky to have a few such gurus throughout my life. So you might be wondering, why is she telling us all of this? There's a very simple reason. I was invited here to speak to you about rethinking education. All of these little stories of my life, which I haven't chosen randomly, provide us with all we need to reimagine education. But let me say one thing first. I do not like this word education very much, because education is something you do to someone else. I rather prefer the word learning, because learning is what you do to yourself. So here is what I think we should include when we speak about reimagining learning. First, for all the teachers, so to speak, it should be of greatest importance what the learner can become tomorrow. Second, we should all realize that learning is lifelong. So it's important that you learn very early on in life what learning is all about. You need to learn how to learn. This is much more important than learning things or facts. Only when you learn to learn can you create a solid basis with dealing with all the new things you encounter later on in life. Learning is very practical and provides you with a set of tools to tackle real-life problems and allows multiple perspectives on the same thing. And I would also like to add that we should have actually, and I was saying this yesterday or the day before yesterday in one of the workshops, we should have no choice of school. Just like in Finland, which is internationally known as the best education system. The Delhi government school have started to implement some of the Finnish principles, and the outcomes they have show that this was a smart move. Only when we introduce no choice of school, meaning all the schools are the same, can we create the biggest pool of talent and creativity a country has to offer. It's an inclusive model. Competition among schools is exclusive and minimizes talent and creativity. To sum this up, we have 5 pillars. 1, learning trumps education. Second, it's all about process and potential. What can the learner become tomorrow? Learn how to learn. Practice and perspectives, multiple perspectives, and no choice of school. That's the theory. So now the big question is, how can we implement this into something very practical and really, bring this to the next level of learning? Implementation is the magic word and the huge challenge. I've been working in a remote village for the last 6 years. I also lived there, not in the same village, but kind of close by. The name of the village is Janvar. It's located in the heart of India in Madhya Pradesh. It's a small village, about 1,200 people are living there, and I guess we have around 250 kids. We have 2 government schools, 1st to 4th grade, and then 5 to 8. The quality of learning is a disaster, to put it mildly. The kids are not even capable of writing Hindi correctly. They can hardly read an article of a newspaper when they leave school, forget about any idea of understanding or critical thinking. Even if the kids go to high school in Panna, which is the next bigger city, the outcome doesn't really improve. But is this the kids' fault? Can we seriously blame the kids for this, or the rural areas? Should which education you have access to be defined by caste, by sex, place of birth, or income? Aren't all kids born with equal talents and capabilities? And don't we need everybody to master the challenges we are facing? Just think about this for a second and think about what brought you here. I feel it's rather the system we need to blame, and it's the system and its curricula we need to rethink. So we've been implementing a model over the last year and a half in Janvar to tackle exactly these issues, how we can bridge somehow rural and urban India. And this is what, I would like you to hear and maybe then talk about. So our initiative, building a skate park, was like a bombshell for this village. It was like an earthquake. The skate park has disrupted village life, shaken old traditions and giving kids a voice. All of a sudden, things started to move in this village. Something new was going on, and it touched nearly everyone. It was inclusive and offered everyone the chance to participate. And it's nothing specific for this village. The same would have happened in any other village. And we see this happening in 4 other places where our model has been replicated. One outcome of this eruption was that new opportunities opened up for the kids. Guests were coming in, the kids started traveling in India and abroad. They became really good skateboarders. 2 of them went to the skateboarding world championships in China, and some of them are now reigning Indian champions. They became self-confident and kind of proud of themselves. The skate park and our community center, the village, have given them an identity way beyond caste and income. They have opened the door to a new world. New horizons now came within the kids' reach. The skate park and the villa have created a desire to learn among the kids. Not all of them buy into it, but more than enough. For those who stood out in the village and stepped forward, we've defined an experiment which we call the Open School Project. We are doing this together with the Prakriti School in Noida, which is to a great extent also subscribing to the same pillars of learning I explained earlier. Prakriti, for me, is one of the rare schools in India which is affordable, progressive, and open to everyone. Differently abled kids, village kids, and the city kids are all happily learning together, just like in real life. So together with Prakriti, we assessed 30 kids in the village. They were 10 to 16 years old, And we assessed them not only in terms of their academic abilities, which were below 0, but we were rather looking at them, regarding in terms of their social skills. We were rather assessing their potential than where they are actually stand today. Basically, we're looking at everything which you can summarize under the term soft skills. This was important for us. And this is basically what you do not learn at school. We were assessing which of them has the potential to become a future leader in the village and bring the other kids forward. And one of them, Anil, he's actually here today. He's participating in the workshop Public Spaces. And I think he can tell you a great deal about public spaces in rural villages. He can tell you at first hand what roles they play in the village and what the difficulties are. For me, the biggest moment here was actually 2 days ago when the workshop group Public Spaces went out to Mumbai and they were looking for public spaces. So one of the members was asking Anil about the public spaces in the village. And Anil's spontaneous answer was water pumps, the place where the water pumps are. The city students, so to speak, were quite stunned. They couldn't grasp his answer, nor were they able to put it into their context. But now just imagine the typical scenario in development aid. It's exactly this kind of educated student who is going into the villages and telling the villagers what to do. This cannot work. Their worlds are just way too far apart. Empathy is needed. Rajesh was pointing this out days before. Common understanding, common ground. This is why I feel that it's so important that kids like Anil participate in events like this. And I'm really thankful here to the team of the MIT India Initiative to have made this possible, Piyush. It will surely enhance the outreach of these programs if you include them, and it will enhance the outreach of the program and the workshop. But back to our open school project. We are 1 year down the road, half-time, so to speak. The question we were trying to answer are, have these 5 village kids, after the period of 2 years, A, a solid grounding in Hindi, math, science, and English, and B, the capability to pass on their learning to the other kids in the village, while at the same time continuing as open schoolers and eventually passing 12th grade under the open school curriculum in India. If this model works, I think we'll have a blueprint to bridge rural and urban India. Then we can stop the rural exodus and we can stop the cities from collapsing. So to this end, we've rented an apartment in Noida for our 5 kids, right opposite the Prakriti school, just a minute away. At Prakriti, they attend regular school sessions according to their levels, not to their ages. In addition, we've also hired science, English, math, and Hindi facilitators, 1 for each subject. These facilitators work only with our kids. The sessions are quite intense because the teacher-student ratio is really good. All this takes up half of their time. In the other half, we focus on their soft skills and their independence, their personal development as human beings. The kids work with special facilitators on media literacy, leadership skills, media production, storytelling, conflict management, understanding or identifying and understanding problems, team building, and via Skype and WhatsApp, we bring in friends from all over the world who help to improve their conversational English. Every month, they go back home to Chanbar for a week for a very, very specific project which they prepare in Prakriti and try to get up and running in Chandwa. And whenever one open school kid goes back to Chandwa, one Chandwa kid will go to Delhi. So we have this constant flow between Noida and the village, which has created an awareness and eagerness to learn among the kids in the village. And this also helps our kids to survive in Noida, because they know they can escape Noida's concrete jungle and the pollution at least for 1 week a month. So the kids get breakfast and lunch at Prakriti school. Dinner they have to manage on their own. They have a monthly budget for food, metro, internet, electricity, all these kind of things. And they have to operate within this budget. They do their budgeting in an Excel sheet, and we take this quite serious. They need to keep the house clean, do their own laundry, and learn to live together, which is not always easy between boys and girls, and Yadav and Adivasi. So our results after the first year are rich and diverse. Sometimes, I really have to admit, it was a very, very bumpy ride. It wasn't at all easy for all of us. It was stretching my nerves to the limits, I really have to say, because the changes we saw were very marginal. And sometimes I lost faith that we would ever succeed. Sometimes I even lost trust in our kids. But then something very positive would happen, which kept me going. And Bharti, my counterpart at Prakriti, she is much, much more patient than I am. So with her perspective and her energy, we really could keep it going. We were lucky that the entire process of this experiment was laid out with loops of iterations. So we were able to continuously adjust the way we were walking down. And here is where we stand today. We expect that at least 3 of the 5 kids will soon reach the point that they can connect the dots and start thinking and learning with crosslinks, meaning they have basically learned to learn. Anil, who is currently here, has become the most advanced learner in his team. He has grown as a person significantly over this period and has caught up with his academic learning. He no longer stands behind his older brother Arun and has found a gentle way to speak for himself. He will most likely take 10th grade exams under the open school curriculum by the end of the year. Asha and Arun, our 2 frontrunners, will now spend more time in the village. They have received an Ashoka Fellowship program in cooperation with Connecting Dreams. Asha wants to work with children, and we are planning to open a little school at our villa. And Arun, who is probably our best skateboarder, will try to become a skateboarding trainer. Now that skateboarding has become Olympic, there is really a need. Both of them will be homeschoolers and will try to pass 10th grade as well. Prashendra and Ajit, 2 guys from our first batch, are stranded though. Even after 1 year, they haven't understood what the program is all about and always put personal interests over team and learning. For them, Noida was a personal ticket out of Chandwa. They didn't care much about community development, nor were they really interested in the kids back home. So we had to make this cut, which wasn't easy, and we still don't know currently how to fill these 2 slots, which became open. Today in the village, we have a much greater pool of kids who are eager to learn and make their village a better place. So we don't face any issues to find the next batch in the year to come. Some of them already had a taste of Prakriti school, so they know much better what they can expect out of this program. And probably, I feel our greatest achievement in the last year is that the kids have found their own Section 8 company. the Barefoot Skateboarders, no, it's no longer there, the Barefoot Skateboarders organization. It's a Section 8 company. Primarily, their work focuses on the development of the children in the village. But the skate park and our community center at its heart, this NGO will broaden the work which has been done over the past 5 years and transfer it into marketable services. Meaning the kids hold skateboarding sessions, they run homestays in their village. We are fully booked until the end of March. They have done merchandising, they appear on public stage. Skateboarding has really catapulted Chandwa onto the international skateboarding map, and it has become India's skateboarding hotspot. As I said earlier, some of our kids are reigning Indian champions, and Asha, who is one of the director of this NGO, and Arun, they have presented India at the World Skateboarding Championships in China. Furthermore, the Chandwa model has been replicated in 3 other villages in India. One is in Andhra Pradesh, 2 are in Rajasthan, and 1 is in Orissa. So our kids become ambassadors of the change there as well. Their help is needed in these places. They have become rural change makers, and they keep the ball rolling. So the skateboarding bug is spreading. The Open School Experiment is a full-time program. It's laid out over the course of 2 years, and then the next batch will come in. And the ones who pass the 2 years will become homeschoolers and pass open school exams. They will have mentors who accompany them on their onward journey and implement whatever they want to as employees of the Barefoot Skateboarder organization. The program costs us about 1 lakh rupee a month. That's roughly $1,400 US. We all finance this based on crowdfunding. So 3 things I would like to end with. First, whenever you want to drive change, be aware you will never ever reach out to everyone. So it's perfectly fine when you start the revolution with a few. Second, change won't happen overnight. It does take time, and it's usually not a tea party. And third, I truly believe that you cannot change a system from within. You have to create something new which makes the old obsolete. And hopefully the Open School project is showing us a way. So before I leave you with my thank you note, I would like to show you a short video the American filmmaker Dennis Schmidt has edited. It will give you some idea how the surrounding in the village looks like.
When we talk about a village like Chandwa, they lived in a very, very closed system, which was the village borders literally define their physical border. So how do you change this if you have such a close kind of thing? And this is where skateboarding comes in. Skateboarding, I think like no other sport, has this culture, has this mindset, and this is, I think, ideal to disrupt such a closed entity like this village Jambar. Something will happen, right? That was pretty clear. It just wasn't clear what will happen.
मेरा नाम राम केशव, मैं जनवा का रहने वाला हूँ और मैं स्केटिंग करता हूँ। जब वहाँ ड्रॉपिंग करके आए, ड्रॉपिंग करके सीधे डेढ़ चढ़ा वो जंप कि जैसी मैं गहराई से हूँ, लेकिन मैं गिर नहीं पाती उससे।
So the skate parks, it's an open sandbox. We have some rules, some principles after which we live, like everyone is equal, we have goals first, no school, no skateboarding, we walk our talk, these kind of things. But anything can happen there. It's all about counterculture, being against, the mainstream, finding your own way. Wherever you look at India, India is dominated by men. No, let it be the family, let it be governments, let it be companies. There is no such a thing that women are equal. We see these boundaries vanishing. They speak together, they talk together, they have created a community.
Skateboarding changed my life. I want to become like India's best skater. I want to represent India in the Olympic. So many skaters are better than me, but my dreams are I will be there. So many kids are in January skateboarders, but they don't have a teacher. When I come back from Olympic, I will teach them and show them the way where they have to go.
जानवर आए और हमारे साथ स्केटबोर्डिंग करें।
So, yeah, thanks Anil for participating here, that you had the guts to come and to speak. Thanks for Prakriti, that they went on this journey with us. And thanks to all of you for listening.